Ever wondered how data is organized and user input is collected on web pages? That's where HTML tables and forms come into play. HTML tables, like the name suggests, are used to organize and display data in rows and columns, effectively presenting tabular data. Whether it's reports, schedules, or financial statements, HTML tables make it easy to structure data in a clear and concise manner. On the other hand, HTML forms are all about communication. They are the tools that allow users to submit data to a server for processing. Registration, login, search, data entry, all these common web interactions are made possible through the use of HTML forms. So, in essence, HTML tables and forms are the building blocks that allow us to organize data and engage with users on the web. Dive into the world of HTML tables and forms, starting with the basic structure and advancing to more complex features. First, we'll take a look at HTML tables, a staple for organizing and displaying data. HTML tables provide an easy and effective way to present structured data in a grid format. They're often used for displaying tabular data in various contexts like reports, schedules, or financial statements. An HTML table is built using several key elements. The table itself is defined with the tag. Inside this table, we create rows using the tag. Each row consists of cells, which can be either headers or data cells. Headers defined by the tag typically label the columns and sometimes the rows. Data cells defined by the tag hold the actual content of the table. Let's visualize this with a simple example. Imagine a table with two columns, name and age. We start by declaring the tag. Inside this, we create a row with the tag. This row will contain our headers, so we use two tags, one for name and one for age. Following this, we create another row for the data. Inside this row, we add two tags, one for a specific name and one for the corresponding age. To further enhance our tables, we can use the tag to provide a title or summary for our table. If we want to merge cells across multiple rows or columns, we can use the colspan and rowspan attributes respectively. Styling our tables is also crucial for better readability and aesthetics. With CSS, we can add borders, control spacing, adjust text alignment, and even highlight headers or rows with different background colors. HTML tables, with their simple structure and flexible styling options, are a powerful tool in any web developer's arsenal. They allow us to present complex data sets in a clear, organized, and visually appealing manner. That's the foundation of an HTML table. But what about making it more complex and visually appealing? Going beyond the basics, let's explore table captions and spanning, as well as how to style your tables. Table captions, denoted by the tag, are quite useful. They provide a title or explanation for your table, improving its accessibility and understanding. Simply place the tag immediately after your tag and voila, your table now has a title. Now, let's talk about the colspan and rowspan attributes. These little guys are quite nifty when you want a cell to span across multiple columns or rows. The colspan attribute allows a cell to span horizontally across several columns, while the rowspan does just the opposite, enabling a cell to extend vertically through various rows. It's like giving your data the power to stretch and occupy more space when needed. But what about making your tables look good? That's where cascading style sheets or CSS comes in. CSS is like the fashion stylist of your HTML elements. It can add borders around your table or its cells, helping to distinguish one from another. Just use the border property in your CSS, and you can customize the border style, width, and color to your liking. CSS can also control the spacing within and between your cells. The padding property adjusts the space within a cell, creating a comfortable cushion for your data. The border spacing property, on the other hand, manages the gap between cells. To make your table more visually engaging, consider playing with background colors. You could highlight headers or specific rows with different shades, making your table easier to read and more aesthetically pleasing. And finally, don't forget about text alignment. CSS allows you to adjust the alignment of your text within the cells. You can align your text to the left, right, center, or even justify it to match the width of the cell. It's all about making your table data easy on the eyes. With these tools, you can create tables that are both functional and visually appealing. Moving on from tables, let's delve into HTML forms, the go-to for collecting user input. HTML forms are like the questionnaires of the web, gathering information from users for all kinds of purposes. Whether it's a simple search box, a login form, or a detailed data entry form, HTML forms are the backbone of interactive websites. Creating an HTML form starts with the tag. This acts as the container for the form and its elements. Inside this container, we use a variety of form elements to capture different types of user input. From text fields to checkboxes, drop-down lists to radio buttons, each form element plays a unique role in data collection. Each form element is created with a specific tag, and each has its own attributes that allow us to guide and control the user input. With the basic form structure in place, it's time to explore the various form elements and how they work. HTML forms offer a variety of elements to collect different types of user input. Now let's dive into these elements to understand their functionalities. First off, we have the tag. This is a versatile element, capable of handling various types of data, from simple text to emails, passwords, and numbers. The name attribute is used to identify the form data when it's sent to the server. Next, we have the tag. Labels are crucial for accessibility and usability. They provide descriptive information for form fields, making your forms easier to navigate, especially for screen readers and other assistive technologies. Moving on, there's the tag. This is your go-to when you need to provide a space for multi-line text input. Think of comment sections, feedback forms, or any other instance where a single line of text just won't cut it. Then there's the tag, which creates a drop-down list. This tag works together with the tag to present users with a list of choices, making it a perfect tool for forms where you want users to select from predefined options. We also have radio buttons and checkboxes. Radio buttons allow the user to select only one option from a group, while checkboxes allow multiple selections. These are perfect for survey forms or any form where you need users to choose from a list of options. Finally, we have the tag. Buttons are used for triggering actions like form submission. You can define the type of button using the type attribute with submit, reset, and button as possible values. Together, these elements form the backbone of HTML forms, providing you with the tools to collect various types of user input. And remember, HTML form elements can be further enhanced with attributes, CSS, and JavaScript to create more complex, interactive, and accessible forms. These elements give you the flexibility to create forms tailored to your specific needs. And with this, we've covered the key HTML form elements. Up next, let's delve into validating and submitting HTML forms. Stay tuned. Once the form is filled out, what happens next? That's where validation and submission come into play. To ensure that a user has entered valid data into a form, HTML provides us with built-in validation tools. For instance, the required attribute can be added to an input field to make it mandatory. If a user tries to submit the form without filling this field, the browser will prevent the form submission and display an error message. Next, the pattern attribute can be used to specify a regular expression that the input field's value should match. This is particularly useful for fields that require a specific format, such as an email address or a phone number. If the entered data doesn't match the pattern, the browser will once again intervene and prevent the form from being submitted. While these built-in validation tools are quite handy, there may be times when you need more complex validation logic. That's where JavaScript comes in. With JavaScript, you can create custom validation rules and provide more dynamic feedback to the user. Now, let's talk about form submission. The action attribute in the form tag tells the browser where to send the form data when the form is submitted. This is typically the URL of the server-side script that will process the form data. The method attribute, on the other hand, specifies how to send the form data. The two most common methods are get and post. Get includes the form data in the URL, making it visible to the user and anyone else who can see the URL. Post, however, includes the form data in the body of the HTTP request, keeping it hidden from view. Lastly, JavaScript can also be used to control the form submission process. You can prevent the default form submission behavior, for instance, to perform additional validation checks or to submit the form data using AJAX, which doesn't require a page reload. Mastering form validation and submission is key to ensuring a smooth user experience. That brings us to the end of our journey through HTML tables and forms. We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring how tables provide a structured way to present data, with elements like table headers, rows, and cells. We've also seen how CSS can be used to enhance the appearance of these tables, making them more readable and visually appealing. In addition, we delved into HTML forms, which are pivotal in gathering user data. We've understood the role of various form elements, from input fields and labels to text areas, select boxes and buttons. We've also touched upon the importance of validation and the process of form submission. As with all things coding, the best way to master HTML tables and forms is to roll up your sleeves and get coding. Experiment with different table structures, try out various form elements and see what works best for you. Remember, practice makes perfect. Happy coding!